Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Nate Andrews, and I'm one of the PDM product managers here at CAD Dimensions. Let's get right into it. All right, let's start with this. Imagine your desk, probably sitting at your desk right now. Take a look at it. Does it look like it's getting close to maximum entropy? Or is everything a little neater and nicer and in its place? Right? Now think about how you manage your digital work data, your documents, files, CAD files, Word documents, things of that nature. Is it all nice and neat and in its place where you can find it? Or is it kind of all mixed up and all over the place, hard to search for files, that kind of thing? Right? If you answered the latter, then you're not the only one. So let's look at some of the consequences and then solutions about being disorganized. So let's start with the costs of being disorganized. There was a study back in 2015 by Express Employment professionals where they took a sample of 18,000 companies, and they found on average with those companies, they were losing about 6 hours per week per employee from just being disorganized. Now, how they referenced disorganization was probably a little different than how we do. They refer to being disorganized by maybe an employee was searching for files, whether that was physical files or on a server. Maybe they had a messy desk. Maybe they misplaced tools, things of that nature. They also said if that employee salary was estimated at $50,000 per year, the cost of the employee itself for being disorganized was about $7,500 just in hours alone, taking this math from six hours per week. And it could be up to $11,000 per employee as well per year. So obviously, when it comes to that, if you're a company or an owner of a company in management, it costs a lot of money to have that as just being disorganized. So we want to avoid that if we can. So kind of in our world, in the engineering world, in the CAD world, disorganization is a little different. So maybe those numbers aren't exactly correct. But what does disorganized mean in our world? So one of the main things, maybe you can't find a file. You spend a lot of time searching the server or your own computer, wherever it is, to try to find that file. Maybe you have duplicates of the same file, right? Creating the same bracket or the same piece of hardware over and over and utilizing it. Sometimes maybe you have to recreate files, right? And again, maybe this is because you can't find the file, or maybe it's on a computer or a drive, something like that, that you just don't have available to you. So with that, another thing here is if you have multiple part numbers of the same geometry, maybe it's duplicate geometry. I've seen this where some companies will create one part or order one part and then put it under different part numbers because a new engineer, a new designer put that as a new part number in their ERP system. So it's now actually stocked in two physically different locations in inventory. All of that is just money kind of wasted due to space or time or effort inside your ERP system. So with all this, what does this mean for you? Maybe this is you. Maybe this is your boss. Maybe it's the owner of a company just realizing how much money is being kind of lost and wasted over time. So maybe that's any one of those people. Just the frustration, just kind of exacerbating there. So with the first part here, I'd like to just have you guys take a poll and give me one moment to try to pull this up. And let me see if this is pretty simple, this one. So do any of these scenarios strike a chord with you? And I'm going to share that now. If you could answer when you get a moment. And I just realized I'm going to turn off my my video camera here, because sometimes that does actually affect the bandwidth here. So I'll just turn that off for now as well, and I'll jump back on later. I'll give you guys a moment to answer the poll here. 90% of the audience has answered at this point, and 86% of you had said yes, this resonates with you. So let me go one step further and have you take one more quick poll here, just to kind of get a lay of the land. And of these scenarios we just kind of mentioned, what kind of impact do you feel it would be on you or your organization? So let me share that one real quick. And again, we'll take just a minute to have you guys fill those out and then see, see where we're at. As many answers on that one as we did the first time. So what I'm seeing here is 57% saying medium and 43% saying of high importance. So big impact for a lot of people. All right, let's move on to the next step here. So in order to solve these challenges, you have to look at developing a plan. But with a plan, obviously, you have to kind of understand what your specific environment is. So let's start with a few different kind of environmental aspects of data management and seeing what your environment looks like. So do you have a lot of people accessing the same files usually this is from a server location is what we tend to see. And if multiple people are accessing the same files, we always kind of say the last save wins. So the last person to save a file is the one that actually has their changes saved to that location for other people to use. So if that's something that happens with you, there is a solution, and generally just a data management solution system allows users to check in, check out files, or reserve unreserved files. In this case, we're looking at a system, a cloud solution that allows you to reserve files, make changes, and you can see kind of the locks on the right-hand side of the image. That's you reserving the file so that you can make the edits. And then when you're done, you unreserve the file so other people can see the changes from there. Let's take a look at another environmental factor. And we see this one all the time. Do you lose track of where your files are on your server or share drives, whatever you're happening to use? A Gartner study said that if you lose track of where a file resides on a server, it takes up to 18 minutes to find it on average. And that's if you ever find it. So this kind of gets back to our original point that each employee could cost the company up to $11,000 per year if they are, more disorganized. Again, that's per employee. If you can't find a file and eventually recreate it, you're just losing a ton of time and money in the end. So again, up to 18 minutes to find a document, right? That's a lot of time that we could get back. So one of the solutions for this is having a robust search engine, and some of them have tagging capabilities. Some of them you're able to do index searches for information inside the document. And again, if you can save those 18 minutes each time you try to find a file, that's a win for both you and your organization. So another thing that we tend to see quite a bit, and this is a scenario I've seen for the last 17 years or so of my career, lots and lots of this happening. So do you ever have duplicate files created by different users? And this doesn't even have to be duplicated files that they created. It could be something, for example, they downloaded from every engineer and designer's favorite website, McMaster-Carr. So in this scenario, let's say user one downloads this socket head cap screw, and then they place it into this assembly. Right, so now you have a reference between this socket head cap screw and the assembly. Let's say user two doesn't know that that socket head cap screw has been created or downloaded, and they download the same one, but then they use it in this other assembly. Now you have two different socket head cap screws, resulting in different having relationships in different assemblies. right? Let's say user 3 does the same thing because they don't know any better. User 4 does the same thing. User 5 does the same thing. If you're a SolidWorks user, this also happens many times when people pack and go their assemblies. Now you have a new reference to those to the hardware pieces, wherever you pack and go those files to. So a very similar situation, right? So really, the solution of this is utilizing standardized libraries so that if you have multiple users collaborating on designs, everyone has access to the same data. The design software will, keep the ties to the individual files, which then also keeps the assembly file reference structures very clean and organized. Let's take a look at a couple more here. So, do you ever use an old revision file? We see companies all the time that may end up building an old revision of a part because they don't have access to the latest revision of the print. Maybe your system has that you're working with still has paper prints, and the current physical printout is out of date on the shop floor. Maybe you also have PDF copies of the latest revision, and it's not updated from an internal system. So people, again, on the shop floor may just not have the latest information. I mean, any of these scenarios could cause you to build the wrong component and therefore also ship the wrong resulting product. So obviously maintaining revision control through cloud or traditional data management tools is something you could do. So using an engineering change system helps to resolve this issue. And, these days, a lot of cloud systems are offered and even preferred by IT departments. The cloud systems help IT reduce costs for servers, backups, upgrades, other software systems that may be used to monitor internal processes. One example here is just showing here on the screen is the 3D Experience platform is one of the cloud solutions that you could use, though traditional PDM systems such as SolidWorks PDM is always an option to solve these issues as well. Stepping one step further, at least on the 3D Experience platform, they have this tool called the Bookmark Editor. It allows you to add specific files that you may be working on for a project, and it allows you to keep the files nice and organized based on the project that you're working on. And then in this case here, we also have the 3D Play app where it's similar to an eDrawings where you can view the resulting 3D models right on the platform. So kind of getting back to where files are located, it's not even just that a user can have access to the files, but is that location the optimal place for the files to reside? Again, today's world is more and more remote working, which requires VPN access, IT departments to set up computers, and more effort to set up employees in this environment. So a lot of organizations are moving to cloud solutions, and a lot of that is to reduce the burden on IT. So after going through those scenarios, what now, right? So if any of these issues that we discussed today kind of resonates with you, then I would usually say there needs to be a change. And then with all that change, if not now, then when? And generally, as we talked about here, again, this is a high level presentation. The solution is a robust data management solution, and that could be in the cloud, it could be traditional, right? And of course, if you have any questions, CAD Dimensions is always here to help you get up to speed, answer any questions that you have, and work with you on getting a data management system up and running, because any of these, we don't want to lose any money, just like we kind of stated at the beginning here. And we want our organizations to be as much in the black as possible. We'll go ahead and close down the webinar now. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us for a bit, and hope this webinar was helpful for you. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Have a great day, everyone.